Hi, I'm Liz Larson with The Art of Frosting. Welcome back. I've got some cake decorating basics as usual. But today I'm here in my daughter's new studio. This is Leah, obviously my daughter. And she's joined me today to help show how to make this beautiful candy heart cake. Leah works in a shop, maybe a lot of you don't know that, but she works with white chocolate and candy melts all the time in some really unique ways. So join us, let's get started. I'm starting with an 8-inch round pre-iced cake with chocolate. Now this cake is mostly frozen, which is really important. I'm going to pour the ganache really quickly and move it onto this platter after the ganache is cooled again. I want to show you how to gauge whether or not your ganache is about the right thickness. You want to be able to have it pour off the end of your spatula, and that way you can tell it's about the right thickness. You also want to make sure that it is pretty close to room temperature, warm but not hot. You don't want it to melt your icing. So unlike some of our other videos where we use ganache, we're actually going to pour a generous amount on because we want this to go all the way down the sides. Once it's on top, I'm going to get my offset here in the middle and start to move the chocolate over the sides. Notice that I'm not wiping the chocolate. What can you add to this, Leah? You do this every day.
It's really important to move your turntable and not your spatula as much because you really want it to be even and you don't want to get lumps in your chocolate.
Yeah, that's really true. And it starts to actually harden quickly. So as you can see, on some parts we're all the way covered, on others we're not. We're going to go ahead and move the spatula around very quickly and very evenly. As soon as it's covered all the way around, we want to leave it alone. Now this needs to go quickly in the freezer so that this can solidify. My under cake is still pretty frozen. Once this solidifies, I'm going to move it to my pretty platter. Our cake is in the freezer now, solidifying down. And Leah is prepping for our candy hearts that she's making. As you can see, she's got some parchment. These are cut in about maybe a 3x3 square, and then we've got some larger. She's actually putting a tiny touch of the candy melt on the back side of the parchment and gluing it to the top of the pan that we're using here so that they stay while she's trying to work on them.
So I do this a lot at work. I'm going to use a zigzag technique here. And it doesn't have to be, you know, drawn in the lines. It can be abstract and it makes really cool 3D stuff. I'm going to use swirlies here, and as long as the design inside touches the outside so that it sticks to it when it dries, then you're going to be fine. And the thickness has to be not too thin because you want it to be able to take off without breaking. And usually when you do this, you want to do a lot in case some do break. So
Leah's got a nice lattice work design there, which is great on its own or also even great with a border. And she's going to use some Cornelli lace. Those of you who watch my videos are really familiar with Cornelli lace. And for this design, we really need about 3 of each. So she's going to do more than that so that we cover breakage, but we want 3 white, 3 pink, and 3 red for our design, and about 3 of each: small, 3 medium, and 3 large. What's the next technique you're going to use, Leah?
Well, I'm just making some small ones, so I'm doing some more zigzags.
And do you ever do the zigzag both ways?
Yeah, I can show you how to do that right now.
And didn't I see you do one that didn't even have a border with the zigzag? Show us how to do that one. I hope you guys can see the white on white here, but this is really, really cool. See, there's not even a border there. It's awesome. The great thing is Leah's doing this freehand, but you can also draw yours out in advance if you know exactly what you want, or really just play with it. And if you don't get a design that you want, it's easy enough to melt the white chocolate down again and start over. Just break them up. And if you end up with extra, you can store them, or you can break them up and melt them down again.
Sometimes the ends here get dry but the inside is still warm. So all you have to do is just pinch it and pull it, and then you get your chocolate to come out.
Now we've moved on to a couple of big ones, and you see that Leah can fit those into still that 3x3. These will kind of be our medium size ones. What are you doing there, Leah?
I'm doing polka dots, and I'm just making sure that all the polka dots kind of touch the edge so they'll stay, but it'll be super cute.
That's a really cool design.
And last one, I'm just gonna do a regular little one.
How about some solid? Would you show us how to fill one in?
So I usually just put a lot in there, and then I can push it with, if it's soft enough, I can push it with the end of my bag. I'm not squeezing any more chocolate, and I'm just pushing it with the end of my bag here. And the back side, or the side that I'm doing now, it's a little rough, but when you take it off, the other side will be completely smooth. So you can use either side. And now I'm gonna put some white polka dots on there, on the top, and it's dry at the end again, so I'm just gonna pinch and push like I did last time. And I'm gonna put little polka dots. And I like to do the polka dots where you do down a straight line, and then the next row is actually in the middle of the other line.
So it almost kind of even ends up with a diagonal too when you do it that way.
Yeah.
That's going to be really cute.
I love doing these kind of polka dots. It really makes it sweet.
All right, next, will you do us one with a lattice work and a border, and we're going to show how to put it over the cup. So the last one Leah is going to show is one that my mom used to do with Australian lace all the time, which is done in royal icing, but really the same technique. So it's just a lattice work across, and then she's going to put a border around the outside. But we're going to do it this one that's different, is we're actually going to lay it over a curved surface, which in this case is a cup. You can also use, my mom used to use old salt shaker boxes or old salt boxes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's white chocolate. With the Australian lace, it needs to be a little bit perfect, but with the white chocolate, it really doesn't. A little bit messy is actually a little bit more modern. But you want the lattice work to be fairly tight so that it has some strength. And she's putting just a little reverse shell border around the outside. And then would you give me just a squirt of chocolate right here, Lee? And then lift that up. We're going to very carefully drape it over the glass. And then we want to let that dry. And then extremely carefully pull it off. So my chocolate is kind of solidified. Now this is ganache, so it's not going to get hard, but you can touch it. I want to take my spatula, and it's great to use an offset, and create a seam around the edge, cutting the excess chocolate away just so it doesn't stick. Now, what we want to do is we want to get our spatula underneath, hold it really flat. This is the hard part, guys. And move around the cake. Use your turntable, not your spatula. And what we're doing is we're freeing the cake from the board all the way around. Then you want to get up underneath, see what I'm doing here. Get your hand under there quickly, see why the cake needs to be mostly frozen. And get it moved. Get your spatula under the edge, get your hand out. And whoo, we did it. We're going to begin to put the hearts on. We're peeling them off really, really gently. I'll show you how to do one, but Leah has the largest one. What are you going to do with that one, Lee?
I'm going to put a little chocolate at the back so we can stick it on there, and I'm going to put it right at the base so that it kind of we can use it as an anchor.
Okay, and then next we decided that we're kind of going to have a cascade that comes around. And this is often the way I start many of my cascades, is I'll put the anchor and the top. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to put this one on, put some glue behind it or candy melt, and I'm going to hold it while Leah adds the next few.
I'm just going to peel off very carefully like that, and it comes off pretty easy. You just don't want to be rough because they'll break.
So a touch of glue or candy melt.
I'm going to put this one behind and hold it. And candy melt dries pretty quickly, so you don't have to hold it too long. Just make sure it stays. So remember the Corneli lace one that we did? We broke it, but we're still going to use it. We're actually going to put it behind the big heart, and we're just going to accent with this one. And then we're just going to stick on the rest of the hearts and make it look pretty.
So this is actually our lattice work that we put over the cup, and see how pretty it is, see how round it is. It's really kind of a dynamic look. So to balance out the top, I'm going to go ahead and put this solid heart just behind it. I'm just going to tack it lightly. We're filling in our cascade now. And as all cascades go, we start from the bottom and the top and move toward the center. So we're getting real close to our center here, and we're just continuing to place our hearts and fill in at this point. This is really important about cascades, that there really gets to be a point where you see that you need to fill in, and that's what we're doing here. It means that you don't really want to go crazy with your initial flowers or hearts or whatever. You want to be able to fill in where it's needed. And I think I want one more right here, and I'm going to say we are done with that part of it. Now the leftovers, I think it'd be great to just put around. So I hope you enjoyed watching us make this simple little sweetheart cake. This is a great cake, not only for Valentine's Day, as you can see we're Valentine's Day up here, but for a sweetheart, for an anniversary, for a little girl who loves hearts. This is a great cake for those of you who are just learning to decorate, because there's so much leeway here with the white chocolate. Please join us again here at The Art of Frosting, and please subscribe. There's a lot more to come. You can join me at my blog at www.theartofrosting.blogspot.com, or
you can join me at www.leahscrazycakelab.blogspot.com,
or on YouTube at Leah Larson.